Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for the Unparalleled Universe Halloween special. And there's nothing really too special about it. I'm just going to be talking about some of my favorite Halloween themed type of figures or horror figures or just random kind of things that I feel fit in with the Halloween season. I'm not a big, huge horror guy or anything like that. I haven't really seen that many horror movies, to be honest with you. I'm not even going to tell you which movies I haven't seen because it's pretty embarrassing. I'll tell you right now that most of the figures that I'm looking at right in front of me, I've never seen the movies that they come from. I just love the way the figures look. And I've kind of taken an interest in horror themed figures in the last like 2 years, mostly because of NECA and Mezcal. Both of those companies are really killing it in regards to horror figures, especially NECA, man. They put out some really great horror stuff, and it's not very expensive. So, when I see something like these Halloween 3 trick-or-treaters or the ultimate Ghostface back there, they look cool, and it's like, oh, it's $30, let me check it out. I think this 3-pack might have been a little bit more. But, they're pretty affordable just to kind of take a risk and check them out. And so far, I've been pretty happy. And then Mezco's been doing some crazy stuff with horror-based figures for a couple of years now. The Michael Myers figure came out a couple years back, and he's great. And then we have Orlok back there, which is more like a classic monster kind of thing. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. So I thought it'd be fun just to jump on here real quick and show you some horror figures that I really, really like. So let's go ahead and get into it. Starting off with Zombie Captain America. Obviously, he's not from like a horror franchise. He's from the recently released What If animated series on Disney Plus. But I mean, it's crazy that Hasbro put out this figure because he's so bloody and gory and crazy and doesn't seem like something that we would get from Hasbro or Marvel. But they did a great job with it, and I think this is an awesome figure to have around during Halloween time. This has been my pocket figure pretty much for the whole month of October, and it's just a really great figure. I'm not going to go too into depth with him because I did a review for him, so if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. It's on my channel, and that's going to be the case with a couple of these figures, but there are a bunch of figures here that I was never able to make videos for, so I'm going to take this video as the opportunity to kind of talk about them a little bit more. But for things I reviewed already, I'm just going to give you a quick little snapshot of my opinion. So for this Captain America, I think this is a great figure, and it's definitely one of my favorite Marvel Legends of 2021. And I'm just really surprised with how much Hasbro embraced the gruesome nature of this character. It's really, really cool. But let's go ahead and look into some other things that I'm not as familiar with. Alright, so for our first stop into my little journey into the unknown, we have the NECA Ultimate Ghostface. And the thing that attracted me about this figure was the fact that he has soft goods, and he's one of the NECA Ultimate figures. Usually, NECA saves the soft goods for their retro stuff. I'm sure there's some Ultimate figures out there that have soft goods, but this is the first one that caught my attention, and I was really curious to see how it would come out. And I was surprised at how good it came out because I love this material. I think it looks very nice. But the best thing about it is the fact that it's kind of stretchy and it has a lot of give, so it doesn't get in the way of the articulation whatsoever. And it looks amazing, honestly. I think it looks very, very good, especially for this scale. So they did a good job with that. And another thing that was really cool about this figure is that under the soft goods, he has like a basic NECA body. And a lot of times with the NECA figures, they have similar bodies, but they'll have like overlays over the torsos. Like a lot of their figures are guys with shirts or whatever. So there'll be like an overlay over the actual diaphragm cut. It seems like there's a diaphragm cut in there, but it's always hard to tell. And this guy kind of gives me confirmation that a lot of the NECA figures actually have diaphragm cuts, but it's covered by those overlays. But since he doesn't have like an overlay over the torso, we're able to get a really good sense of what these torsos are capable of. And I was happy to see that they actually have some really good range. And like I said, the soft goods don't get in the way whatsoever. So look how far forward he could bend forward. And yeah, it just looks really, really good. So this guy's fun to play with. He has good articulation. He's got double jointed elbows. He doesn't have double jointed knees, and that's kind of unfortunate, but it's not really a huge deal. You could still pretty much get him into all the poses that you'd want Ghostface to get into. But yeah, look at that, man. It's a perfect looking Ghostface. And another thing that's awesome about this guy is the amount of accessories and display options that you have with him. To my knowledge, it seems like you could pretty much get any version of Ghostface that you want out of this figure. He came with a bunch of different heads. He has the standard Ghostface head, and then he has like this green ghoulish head that looks nice. He's got like this bloody ghost face mask that looks good, and then he has like this old worn down one. So it gives us a lot of options in regards to the actual ghost face. And then he comes with this big old scythe, which is really nice. It's got some great details. You know, not a surprise from NECA. They always kill it with the details. And then he does have some knives that have like a bunch of blood on them. Look at that. Looks like he just shanked the shit out of somebody. But yeah, man, pretty nice blood work on the knives. And oops, he does have extra hands as well. He's got gripping hands and like, I don't know. Yeah, he's just got a couple of different gripping hands. So that's cool. And then last but not least, he does have his little voice changer thing. So yeah, really good stuff here. I was surprised by how much I like this figure. I've had him handy pretty much since I got him. I opened him on a live, and I remember just kind of being distracted playing with him the whole time because this is a really fun figure to pose around, and it seems to me like it's a perfect representation of Ghostface from the Scream movies. For any big Scream fans out there, let me know what you guys think about this figure. Are you guys happy, or is there something that NECA left out that maybe they should have done better? The only thing, just from like an action figure perspective, that I think could have been done a little bit better on this guy is I think he would have been, I think it would have been cooler if he had double jointed knees, but that's about it. That's like the one thing I wish was different. And even with the single jointed knees, he's perfectly fine. But I think they did a great job with this guy. I really like it. And this is not really a character that I have any attachment to. So that really says a lot about the quality of the figure. Michael Myers. And this is going to be a quick one because I have reviewed this figure, even though it was quite a long time ago when this guy was first released by Mezcal. But I think this is a great figure, a great representation of the character. NECA has done some pretty good Michael Myers figures as well, but this one here does it for me because of the soft goods jumpsuit. I know that they have another one on the way. I kind of hope that they use a different body, which I doubt they will because they love this Joker body. I know that recently they've made slight modifications to it, and that's cool. Hopefully the next Michael Myers has better articulation than this guy. But I will say he can pretty much do everything that you'd want Michael Myers to do. You know, he's not Spider-Man, so as long as he could walk around and look crazy and get into some cool stabbing poses, I think we're good to go. And this figure was actually given to me as a gift from my buddy Sculptimo Toys. He gave this to me a while ago. And yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a really good representation of Michael Myers. There's definitely some cheaper options out there. But as far as like this scale, I definitely think this is the best one that I've seen. So this guy's definitely going to stick around for my Halloween themed display, you know. Ooh, all right. Next up, we have a really good one. What we have here is the Mezcal 112 Collective Orlok. Some people call this guy Nosferatu, but they are confused. That's the name of the movie that he's from. The character's name is Count Orlok. And I've got to tell you, I don't talk about this figure too much, but to be honest with you, I think he's one of the best Mezcal figures ever made. He's pretty much perfection. This thing is freaking crazy. It does such a good job of capturing the creepiness of this character. There's some inaccuracies, but I think just in general, the feeling is there, and it's an amazing figure. Like, they did everything right on this guy. I remember when I heard that he had single jointed elbows, I thought I'd be disappointed, but when I got the figure, it didn't bother me at all. This thing is just so freaking perfect. And he comes with like the greatest accessories of all time. He comes with some really nice stuff. Let's make sure he stands before I grab some of the accessories. The main big thing he comes with, which is super crazy, is this coffin. And look at this. It's filled with dirt and rats and just all kinds of nasty stuff. And speaking of rats, he does come with a bunch of those. I think he came with 5 little rats, but I think I misplaced one of them. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, he comes with these little rats. And he also comes with multiple heads, multiple hands. He comes with like a little lantern and keys and all kinds of crazy stuff. But, you know, in this case, the star of the show is definitely the figure itself because they did such an amazing job on this guy. The sculpting work is incredible. The soft goods are perfect. I love the way the jacket looks. I like how it's all torn up and discolored. And he just looks so good. And it kind of looks like a stylized version of Count Orlok, you know. And but still, like I said, it just captures the look and feel and the creepiness of that actual character so well. like I said, there's definitely some inaccuracies. I know if you go look at old pictures of Orlok, you could actually see his eyes and they look creepy. In this case, they just look black and it looks equally as creepy. But man, this is such an incredible figure. So much fun to mess around with. And yeah, I didn't show this figure the love I should have when I first got him. But by the time it was in my hands, like there was already a bunch of reviews and everybody had them. So I just never got around to it. And honestly, I was waiting to do this type of video so I could talk about them and just show them some love, because this is like where Mezcal really excels. Just obscure, strange movie properties. I think that's where they should just focus their energy instead of superhero stuff. I know they mostly do their own like Rumble Society stuff these days, but I would really like to see them focus on obscure characters like this that no other company's ever going to tackle, and that have such unique looks that lend themselves very well to the whole Mezco aesthetic, just like Orlok. Like, no one else could have done this figure this good. You know, I'm a huge fan of NECA, but they couldn't have done this character this good. Mezco just killed it. And like I said, it's one of the best Mezco figures and definitely one of the best scary monster figures, you know. It's just such an incredible piece of art. I love this thing. And then next up, we have the Universal Monsters Frankenstein and the Creature from the Black Lagoon by Jada Toys. And these figures are kind of new. I think they came out within the last like 2 months or something like that. And I was pleasantly surprised with these guys. I didn't really think that I needed them because I figured that NECA will eventually do a Creature from the Black Lagoon, and they've already done an amazing Frankenstein. But once I saw the scale of these guys and realized that they were closer to like 6-inch, originally I thought they were like 5-inch or something. So I was like, nah, I don't need those. But once I saw that they were 6-inch, as you can see with them alongside Bucky Cap and Pizza Spider-Man, that's when I kind of became more interested in them. So I decided to pick them up. Actually, my boy Art with Toys got them for me. So shout out to Rick. Thank you so much. But yeah, Frankenstein I think is pretty cool, but he doesn't touch the NECA one. But I do think that he's a pretty nice figure. He's got these shackles, which are nice, and then he does come with an alternate head that kind of has a more, like, I want to say goofy, but I don't think that it was supposed to be goofy. But the head sculpt does look a little bit more like he's kind of smiling or something. So it's cool that he came with some accessories. He came with 2 sets of hands. He's got the shackles. So he has some good stuff, and he looks good. The texture on the suit looks really nice. A lot of really great detail. Same thing on the pants. And I think it's a pretty good figure. But I was blown away by the NECA Frankenstein. So after that, you know, this guy had some big shoes to fill. And I would say that he didn't quite... He didn't reach the NECA one. But he is a good figure, especially if you want a Frankenstein that's closer to 6-inch. But when it comes to Creature from the Black Lagoon, I was completely blown away by this guy because I think they killed it. I love the sculpt on him. He has some beautiful detail. He has really great articulation, and I love how the articulation is hidden into the design, you know. He's got like a diaphragm cut, and then he also has a ball joint at the waist. He's got some really good articulation. Very fun to pose around. He came with some great accessories, especially like this old creature claw. That's very nice. He also came with the net, a harpoon gun, an extra head. So he's got a lot of great stuff going for him. But the standout quality with this figure is definitely the amount of detail that they put into the sculpt and the paintwork. I love the different shades of green that we have going on here. I like all the just the very intricate details of the sculpt are pretty impressive, because I never heard of Jada Toys before. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but when I took them out of the box, I was like, damn, they went all out. And I just love the way that the articulation is hidden very well within that sculpting work, you know. So they did a great job with this figure. He's a lot of fun to pose around and play with. And Rick also took some amazing pictures of him, so I'll leave a link to his Instagram in the description below if you want to get some if you want to take a look at some amazing shots of Creature from the Black Lagoon, because he killed it. And I'm looking forward to seeing if NECA eventually does him. I'm sure they will. Shit, they might have already even announced it, and I'm just kind of forgetting right now. But I'm sure when they get around to doing it, it'll be amazing. But for now, I'm very happy to have this one. And then speaking of the NECA Frankenstein, this is another figure that I've already done a full review for. So if you're interested, be sure to check that out, because this figure is freaking amazing. It's definitely one of my favorite figures of the year. Everything about it is very well done. Really nice sculpting work. Some pretty good articulation, enough to do what you want with Frankenstein. And it's just a really great figure. Very photogenic. I had a lot of fun taking photos of this guy, and I really don't have that much fun taking pictures of figures because, I always say, like, I'm not very good at it. It's kind of a struggle for me. But with Frankenstein, all the pictures came very easy, and I was pretty happy with the result. So this guy kind of has a special place in my heart because he was so fun to take pictures of. And just look at him, man. He's amazing. But if you want a closer look, check out that review. And then next up, we have the NECA Halloween 3 Season of the Witch 3-pack. And I think this is a really great set. And I'll be honest with you, when I first saw these figures revealed, I had no idea what they were about. I didn't know what movies they came from. I didn't know anything about these characters. I had zero idea about any details about these figures. But I still wanted them. Right when I saw them, I was like, man, those are some good looking NECA figures. They almost look as good as like Mezcal, and I was really excited about them, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna keep an eye out for those. And by the time they came out, I became a little familiar with this movie. I know that it's the third installment of the Halloween franchise, and when they first made the Halloween movies, they wanted it to be a situation where like every year they put out a different Halloween movie that was based on a different set of characters. But Michael Myers was so popular, they stuck with that for the first two movies. And then by the time they came out with this movie, they decided to do that initial concept, but nobody cared about that. They just wanted Michael Myers. So this movie was kind of a flop. I know since then it's developed like a cult following and stuff, and I think that's really cool. I think that type of stuff NECA really excels with because they put out these figures that like not a whole lot of people know about, or there's like a very like niche cult following behind, but they put them out and they go all in on them and they do amazing work. Like these three figures are super fun. The articulation kind of caught me off guard at first because they kind of have these retro style bodies. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on in the torso. All they really have is a waist swivel. And then at the legs, we have a single jointed knee, which I thought was strange. We get some good movement at the hips though, so that's nice. We got like a upper thigh swivel and it moves around a pretty good amount. The ankles are a problem to me though. It makes these figures really hard to stand because they don't swivel, they don't rock, they don't do anything like that. They just go up and down, and that's about it. But it kind of makes these guys a little bit they're kind of always at risk of falling over. The ankles are kind of weak on these guys. But the arms are good though. They do have double jointed elbows, which is nice, and then they have good movement at the shoulders and at the head. So the articulation was a little off-putting at first, but I think for the most part it's functional enough for this type of thing. If you just want to have kids that you could have in like Halloween type of settings, use them as trick-or-treaters or whatever, these things can definitely get the job done. And they came with some good accessories too. They came with multiple sets of hands, and then we also have this TV that has an image on the screen that changes. Yeah, there we go. You could kind of see it. And then each one of them has an alternate head where it's more like a monstrous looking kind of situation. We've got like snakes and worms and spiders covering these things. These are very cool, and they just pop right onto the figures themselves. And I don't even know if I've put those heads onto these bodies because I'm so satisfied with them just like this. They're kind of just like mischievous children running around Halloween, That's kind of like the vibe I get from these guys, which is really awesome. I think the skeleton might be my favorite out of the three. I think he's very cool. But yeah, man, there's a lot of display options with these guys and just a high fun factor. Even though the bodies don't have the most articulation, they're still fun to handle. The soft goods are very well done, and there's just a lot of versatility with these figures. They work for what they're specifically intended for, which are these three characters from this Halloween movie, but you could also use them for other random stuff, just like random trick-or-treaters or just random little kids or whatever. So these things are awesome. I really, really like them. All right, so last but not least, we have what's probably my favorite figure out of all these crazy killers and monsters that we see here, with the exception of Captain America, because that's Captain America, baby. You can't put anyone above him, even a zombie version. But as far as all these other monsters and crazy movie characters, I would say that this NECA Retro Sam figure is probably my favorite out of all these guys. Because the same thing that I said about the Season of the Witch stuff, when I saw him revealed at Comic-Con, I was instantly like, that thing is freaking awesome. I need to pick it up. Don't know what movie it's from, don't know anything about it, but I need to get that figure. And then when he came out, I picked him up and I really, really liked it. I actually had to buy two of them. The first one I bought broke. It's one of the few NECA figures that broke on me, but I was able to return it and get a replacement without too much of a hassle. And the replacement was completely good and I just fell in love with this thing as soon as I took it out. It just so it captures the creepy cuteness of Sam perfectly. And I know that NECA has an ultimate version of Sam, which looks really good too, but I don't think that one compares to this. The fact that this guy has soft goods and it looks like a little kid in pajamas just makes this thing so perfect. He doesn't really come with any accessories. The only thing he comes with is his lollipop, and then he has his burlap sack that he uses for trick-or-treating. And this is nice too. It has like a wire in it. Can't really get him to hold it though. Oftentimes I just kind of stick his finger into the little strings there and then let him carry it around or something. But it's cool that he came with that. It would have been nice if he came with some extra hands or something, but you know, it's whatever. But his body is very similar to the Season of the Witch stuff. He does have double jointed elbows. He's got single jointed knees though, and then at the torso all we have is that swivel. His head gets some pretty good movement, and his ankles are a little weak as well. But you could definitely get him into some cool poses, and he's just a great looking figure, man. Look at that. He looks like he jumped right out of the movie. And this guy costs like 30 bucks or something. I think you could still pretty much get him for retail. If you're a fan of monster movies and horror stuff and whatever, or Trick or Treat, you need to pick up this figure. This thing is it's freaking awesome. Look at it. It's so good. And here's the cherry on top. You could remove his mask and reveal his crazy ass pumpkin head. Boom, look at that. The ultimate version does come with like a couple of different heads, you know, that kind of match what goes on in the movie. I actually like this figure so much, I went and checked out the movie. What part of the game is that? I haven't done that for like any of these other characters. I haven't went and watched Scream or Halloween or Season of the Witch or none of that. But this figure, like I said, I fell in love with it. And, you know, I went and watched the movie. And you know what? I like the movie. I like it quite a bit, actually. And I especially like Sam because he's like a creepy, weird little goblin thing that just kind of... he's almost... I'm not going to say he's a hero, but, you know, he's not a complete, like, piece of shit bad guy, you know? He does some bad stuff. But for the most part, he's just kind of defending Halloween, which I think is pretty awesome. But yeah, I love the way they did this sack on the head where you could just remove it and put it back on without too much of an issue. And yeah, it looks good as soon as you put it back on. And just look at that, man. It's such a great looking figure. He's so much fun to play with, even though he doesn't have a lot of articulation. I just think this figure has so much attitude, you know, and it just sells the feeling of the character so well. And it's accurate, right? Like, I don't see anything on here that jumps out as inaccurate. I think it's a perfect representation of Sam from the Trick or Treat movie. And you know, if you're into this kind of stuff, I definitely suggest checking out Trick or Treat. It's a horror movie, but it has a lot of like funny elements, you know, and just kind of a dark humor going on. So it was very enjoyable. Obviously, it's rated R, so if you are a child, get your parents' permission or whatever, I guess. I don't know. Is that what kids do? But yeah, ask your mommy if you could watch it. But yeah, it's a great movie, a great character, and an amazing figure. So I really, really like this guy. And you know what? With that, I think that's it, you know? I hope you guys had a good time talking about all these random horror figures. Let me know if you're interested in any of these figures, you know? If you're going to go check any of them out because of this video. And also let me know if there's horror figures that you think I should check out, or any weird movie monsters that you think that there's some good figures out there that I'd be into. Let me know in the comments. You know, I'm always on the lookout for good toys. And you know, since I'm becoming interested in horror stuff, I don't know, it's weird, you know, because like I usually root for the good guys, you know, like I don't want to like the bad killer guys. I don't want to sympathize with Michael Myers. I don't want to like I don't want to think Ghostface is cool. That's why I kind of like Sam, because he was kind of like he had a purpose, and he wasn't that bad, you know. He did one bad thing, but aside from that, he wasn't that bad. And like Sam was like the perfect movie monster for me. But anyways, give me some suggestions in the comments. Let me know what movies and figures I should check out. And yeah, I think that's it. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Also, be sure to have a happy and safe Halloween. Have fun with your friends and family. But like I said, most of all, be safe. But have fun and enjoy the spirit of Halloween and all that good stuff. But thank you so much for watching. Peace.